accept um, the the social conventions that govern the way our society work. Okay, these rules and social conventions. I like to question a lot of this stuff, ask a lot of questions, and while we're doing this, we love to listen to electronic music as well. So it's a it's a well packed show, a well packed package, as I like to say, but one that I find to be very generous in humor. Okay, so what I mean is we again to reiterate, I mean that we like to do all of this with the with that frame of mind, that jovial frame of mind. Okay, so where we come to chill and do the things we love to do. So our conversations today is not, I mean, is gonna be one of such insightful, thought provoking, and we gotta be um, discussing as as I like to say, we're having this conversation, and I invite you, okay? I invite you to be part of this discussion as always. Do this is by making use of the live chat box right here on your YouTube application, and you can share your opinions, your thoughts, your insights into our conversation today on Blend. Okay, you can share them with me right here on the, I mean, if you're listening live right here via the YouTube application, via the live chat on the YouTube application. Jesus, okay. It's like my brain is moving faster than my mouth. Okay, yeah. So I think I should slow down, but I'll do just that, because in some couple of seconds we're gonna be going for a music break. So I'll, use that time to ease up a little bit. So our topic of conversation, what we're going to be talking about, I'm going to give you a hint. Yeah, should I say whet your appetite after this? Spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself, to grow the mentally fit so that you're listening to blend. Welcome back from that music break. Okay, you're listening to Lázougi live here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where, and this is Blend episode 13. Okay, the music that we listened to during the music break, we listened to two songs, and the first one is titled or was titled I Can't Wake Up, and the follow up to that was titled I do hope that you enjoyed that or those. I hope you enjoyed the songs that we listened to. Okay, now to move on to our topic, and a I gave you the topic that looking we'll be talking about on this episode of Blend. Okay, so the topic of conversation is how to avoid being taken for granted. So again, as I like to say, our conversations are totally interactive, and I invite you to be part of our conversation today by making use of the live chat box right here on your YouTube application. So our topic of conversation is how to avoid being taken for granted. Okay, and a lot of a lot of people might be wondering, okay, where is this coming from? Well, I hear it all the time, and personally, I would say I've experienced it. We all have experienced moments where we have been taken for granted by people, perhaps people that we love or people that don't know us too well. We have all had moments like this where we had expected uh, much from people in regards to how they treat us or how we expect them to treat us, and they fall short of that expectations. Well, this topic of ours will be, on one hand, a way to avoid this type of situations or avoid getting into this type of situations. On the other hand, it is also a way for us to build our self-confidence such that we don't necessarily find ourselves in those situations. Okay, so what we are going to be looking at on this episode of Blend, talking about this topic, we are going to be looking at four different ways, or four tips, or should I say, um, four bullet points. We're going to be looking at this four tips that will help us, build our self-worth, build confidence to the point where we, um, we have that value that attracts us to people. Okay, we have that self-worth and value, that thing about us that makes us attractive to people. It is an ability within us that each and every one of us can develop, and these four tips are not set in stone. Okay, and what I also mean by that is there are more than four. Okay, so it's not just there's it's not just four tips. Okay, there are much more than four, but we're going to be looking at four today, and you can as well add yours. Like I said, via the live chat box and in the comment section if you're listening to this broadcast via our archive. So let's quickly get into it. Okay, the first one is you have to put yourself through pain and suffering. That's the first one. Okay, you have to put yourself through pain and suffering. The amount of pain and suffering you are willing and you're willing to pass through, and are able to pass through is the amount of value you'll have of yourself. Okay, let me take that again. So what I said earlier was amount of the amount of pain and suffering you are willing to go through and you are able to eventually get through is the amount of value you place on yourself. Okay, so you know, for those who are who are quick to object to this statement, let's look at some examples. Okay, we're going to be looking at three examples to illustrate what I've just said. First of all, we look at Christ. Okay, Christ, whom we all know. And why do we love Christ? Why do we worship Him? And this is, because He died for us. Okay, He gave up His life to save us. Okay, He went through all of that pain and suffering, for us. And to add to what I said earlier, it is the amount of pain and suffering you are willing to go through and are able to go through, willing and able to go through, that is the amount of value you place on yourself. And in some cases, society also places that value on you. And coming back to Christ, looking at Christ, we also place value on Christ based on that fact as well, that He went through all of that pain and suffering for us. And also He placed that value on Himself. Okay, calling Himself the Son of God based on that responsibility that He had to carry for the rest of us, for the rest of humanity and mankind. So let's look at number one again. You have to put yourself through pain and suffering. The kind of pain and suffering that empowers you to do things that you weren't able to do before. Okay? The kind of pain, suffering, and dedication that you need to be able to achieve your goals. So that is the kind of pain and suffering I'm talking about. Work. The ability for you to do the work despite its difficulty. So the higher that pain and suffering is, or the higher it gets, and you're willing to put in the work, is the it's the level of value you place on yourself, because as time goes on you start to see yourself accomplishing things and doing things that you weren't able to do before due to your body developing, becoming stronger due to all of that pain and suffering. So that is the first step to avoid being taken for granted, which, like I said in the beginning, okay, I couldn't think of a better title. I admit this. Okay, I was trying to frame this in different ways, but that's what I came up with. Okay, but like I said, it's also a way for us to boost. It contains tips and insightful tips for us to be able to boost our self-worth, our confidence. Okay, so uh moving on to number two. Okay, we're gonna take number two and we'll go for a music break. Okay, I love to um to keep you uh, informed and entertained at the same time. Okay, so while we're learning new things on the go, we're also having this immersive musical experience. Okay, that I love to share with you. So, uh, just keep it at the back of your mind that very soon we'll be going for a music break. But let's take number two. Okay, number two. Number two. I hope everything is going quite well. Okay, it has been quiet in this. When I, what I mean by quiet. I'm talking about those, the gremlins. So it's been quiet in this place. I'm starting to get suspicious. Last week's episode was, was really really good. I really enjoyed it. I love how smooth it was. Finally, Jesus, after after quite a while. So I'm looking forward to another good one. Looking forward to another good one. I need to get into number two, right? Okay. Number two. Surround yourself with people who relate with your pain and suffering. Okay, this is a bit, should I say, controversial, but not really. Surround yourself. Okay, yeah, I said I was going to give three examples. Jesus. Okay, thank God I remembered. Yeah, I remembered. I remembered. I remember. Okay, so that's number two. Okay, now you know number two. So, okay, looking at three examples, I said I was going to give three examples. The first one is Christ. Okay, so the second one, we look at our athletes. Okay, we look at the famous athletes, and we look at footballers, we look at basketballers, LeBron James, Ronaldo's, Messi's, those people up there. Um, the greats in the Tiger Woods, and all of this very, very, very highly skilled people in their in their in their fields. Okay, and the value we place on them is due to how much pain and suffering they have gone through to be able to get to where they are now. Okay, so is that dedication to becoming that person that they are. See, I knew it was getting too comfortable in here. It was getting too quiet. I knew something was up. Okay, so as I was saying, um, yeah, the athletes, the highly skilled professionals, we pay them for being so dedicated to their 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 work routines, which puts them through so much pain and suffering, you know, before they can be able to accomplish and become the person that they are now. Okay, and even now that they're still the person, it still doesn't stop them from doing those things that you know, got them to where they are now. Okay, so that is also another example, to illustrate my point or my statement earlier. Okay, the amount of pain and suffering you're willing and able to go through is how much value you place on yourself, and in some cases society places this value on you based on your pain and suffering. The third example will be a personal story, from my childhood, and one I would love to share, okay, because I don't talk about my childhood so often. So you listen, okay? You listen when I talk about it. Okay, so should I say gather? Well, no, that would be too dramatic. Childhood stories. This wasn't really my childhood per se. I was already a teenager by this time, but I'm talking about high school. And in high school, back then in high school, we used to, it was the norm for us to be punished. Uh, corporal punishment was the norm back then in high school. Right now, I hear that it's being slowly abolished. That schools no longer, practice corporal punishment. But in my day, it was the norm. Okay, so when we fell out of line, or uh, when we did things we weren't supposed to do, or when we got in trouble, basic stuff, we were being punished by flogging. Okay, and uh, we we used to be. I think back then it was strokes of we, we use cane, okay, like a long cane, like long stick, and that was what we were being flogged with back in the day. I don't know how they do it now, whether they still practice corporal punishment, but in my day that was it. And students, it was quite painful for us to receive this very, very, in some cases, but not all the time, very, very, I won't say large, but at least the strokes were really substantial, okay, of the cane. So it was quite painful for us, but as students, we adopted this stoic attitude when we were being flogged, okay, and what we did back then was we pretended that we didn't feel the pain. Okay, we adopted this stoic attitude where when we were being flogged, we would choose not to react to the pain. So we would remain still, and we called it dusting. We called it dusting, okay? That's what we called it. So rather than cry and beg for mercy, or react to the pain, or show emotion, or show that we are feeling the pain, we would remain still, like. And over time we started to adopt, or we modify what it means to be a duster. So different people had their own styles of dusting, but the should I say core principle was you shouldn't move. Okay, it was important for you to show that defiance to the authority that is your teacher by not reacting to the pain. And as students, we started to place value in ourselves for being able to dust so much, and we take as much as 10 strokes of the cane and would not react. So there was some sort of hierarchy of best dusters. It's ridiculous. It's very ridiculous. So there was this hierarchy of, of best dusters and people who, should I say, those who weren't able to do it looked up to these people because they were able to endure this pain and suffering. So it was like some kind of rep in school back then. So just and some other points just illustrates that fact that, no, I would say for now, it's my opinion because you might have a different opinion. Okay, so let's not call it a fact. Like I said, nothing is set in stone. We're just sharing ideas and tips on how to, build our self worth and confidence. Okay, so putting yourself through pain and suffering willingly, okay, that's very, very important. And going through it, over time, you start to see how powerful and how capable you are of doing some certain things that you thought were impossible before. Okay, so now that I've taken care of the two examples that I said I was going to take care of before, we'll move on to the second tip, and that is surround yourself with people who can relate to your pain and suffering. Okay, so surround yourself with people who can relate with your pain and suffering. Let's look at, the athletes, and not just athletes, but people who are highly skilled in their professions, or people who are, you know famous for that. Okay, athletes, it could be musicians, it could be artists, and you tend to see that they always surround themselves with people who can relate with their lifestyle, okay, with what it meant to be able to be an artist, okay, people who understand the process or what it takes for them to become who they are. And this is, you know, because these people can relate. Again, like I said, these people knows what it takes for them to be able to do those things that make them who they are. So that knowledge and that understanding of what it takes for Ronaldo to be Ronaldo, there's a certain reverence for him. If you don't like Ronaldo, even if you don't like him, as a, you don't like him, but you know him and you seeing, and better still, you in your own capacity doing your own things to become, who you want to become as well. You see how difficult it is for such a person to be that person. So there's certain reverence. So amongst themselves, amongst these people, there's reverence, there's respect among themselves. Just because they are able to relate with their pain and suffering. So even if someone wants to talk to you, if someone wants to, you know, um, even if somebody wants to talk to you in a manner that you don't approve of, it is much better for it to come from somebody who understands your routine or what it takes for you to become who you are than for him for for it to come from somebody who has no clue. Okay, let's say you're a person who wakes up 5:30 in the morning to jog. You wake up 5:30 in the morning to jog, and you jog say 5 miles. I don't know how long that is. Scratch that, scratch that. Okay, okay. So you wake up to jog 5 miles at 5:30 in the morning, and somebody you very well know is still in bed at 9 a.m. tries to talk to you in a manner that you don't approve of. At that point in time, your tolerance for your tolerance for your tolerance for your tolerance for bullshit just reduces. Okay, it just reduces at that point. So as you keep putting yourself through all of that, as you keep putting yourself through all of that things that you have to do, or all of those things that you have to do, even though you find them difficult, your tolerance for bad behavior just reduces. That was what I was searching for earlier. It just reduces. Okay, so over time, you just find yourself searching for people who can understand what you do. Okay, because with that comes a certain knowledge and reverence. So the more you keep doing this, the more you keep putting yourself through all of this pain and suffering, the more the more the perception you have of yourself increases. Again, you start to see what you're capable of doing. You start to see that value in yourself. And the more value you have in yourself, the less tolerance you'll be of people who try to undervalue you. So that is, those are the first two tips you're gonna be looking at. Okay, the first one is put yourself through pain and suffering, and the follow-up to that one is surround yourself with people who can relate to your pain and suffering. So based on what we've said so far, if you have anything to share, if you have any ideas or thoughts or opinions to add, like I said, I invite you to make use of the live chat box to do that. Excuse me. Or if you're listening to this broadcast via archives, right there in the comment section is how you can part of our conversations. Okay, so know, um, let's talk and interact and get to understand one another. Okay, let's understand our different points of views. And I think I need to go on a break. Okay, I just need to just drink some water. My throat has been quite itchy for the past couple of minutes. It's really disturbing me. Uh, so what we're going to do now is let's go for this music break. Like I said, we'll take care of the first two first of all. We'll go for a music break, and when we do come back from this music break, we'll be looking at the final two tips that we have to share based on the topic of conversation that we have on this episode of Blend. And don't forget as well, we'll also be having our tip of the day segment. It's been quite a while we had that. So I hope you're looking forward to that one. So what else? What else? What else? Music break. Okay. The song you're gonna be listening to is titled Diagnosis. Enjoy this one. When we come back from it, we'll talk some more. Okay, so I have to get a glass of water. I'll see you after this break.
You're listening to your number one electronic music station. Yeah, in Gardens Way.
Welcome back from that music break. You are listening to Lázougi Live here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. This is Blend episode 13, our topic of conversation on this episode of Blend is how to avoid being taken for granted, or on the other hand, how to boost our confidence, our self-worth, our self value. Okay, they go hand in hand. The both of them, they go hand in hand. The music we listen to during the music break is I'm keeping my eye on something. The music we listen to is titled Diagnosis. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you had an amazing time or a wonderful time immersed in that one. Okay, let's look at the final two items on our list of four ways to avoid being taken for granted. Let's look at number three, and number three is rise above some certain things. Rise above some certain things. Okay, so this one is where introspection come into play. That is the ability to critically analyze oneself and to study oneself, and for us to know the certain things that we need to rise above. So we need introspection to question ourselves, to be able to derive those answers from within us. So even if we cannot rise above all things, we should rise above, most importantly, those things that can enable people to have power over us. And this is where we need to ask ourselves, and we need to search ourselves, what is that thing that people can use to have power over me? That is something that you and I need to rise above. Okay, so an example is like, are you that guy who your friends call you before they say, um which person's name do we use now? Let's use Paul. Why Paul? I don't know. That's the first name I could think of. So we are heading to the. Before they say bar, you're already grabbing your keys and know, you're already going out. Okay. Before they say we are heading to the club, you're already out the door. I mean, and you're consistent with his behavior such that it becomes a pattern, it becomes predictable. So it becomes predictable in such a way where if anyone wants to know take advantage of the situation, they know where to get you and they know how to go about it. It's just that simple. So you need to rise above those things and you need to study, or we need to study ourselves to rise above those things. So same goes for the ladies. You know those things as well. Your friends, before they call you, before they drop the word, you already leaving everything that you were supposed to be working on and you're out the door. That's not the way to go about things. So we need to rise above these things that we know can be used over us. So we need to rise above these things. So for some, it could be food. Okay, you can't say no to food. Okay, for some, it could be video games. Things like that people can use over you. So one needs to search oneself to derive these answers. So I think we don't need to talk much about that, or do we? In case you have anything to add to that, let us know via the live chat box or in the comment section. So quickly, let's move on to number three. So we're done with number three, so we move on to number four, and we go for the tip of the day segment. So number four, no. So number four is very, very, very important. Okay, don't make excuses for people when they hurt you, or as the case may be, when they go over your threshold for bad behavior. Okay, so don't make excuses for people when they hurt you or when they go over your threshold for bad behavior. So, for example, you know, um, someone who naturally will be nice to you, and in your interaction with this person, someone who is naturally nice to you, and on this certain day, in your interaction with this person, perhaps you met this person on your way, both of you meet on your way going to wherever it is you guys are going to, and you say hi, and this is someone who and the person just you know ignores you. And perhaps this is your very close friend. Okay, it is your close friend. He's a very close friend, so he just ignores you, no response. And you're like, maybe he's having a bad day. Okay, this is just one example, but there are various instances like that where we make excuses for people's bad behavior when they, go above that threshold of ours, but still we make excuses for them. So it's very, very important for us not to do this consistently, and it's very, is it's dangerous when this person's bad behavior towards us is consistent, yet we keep making excuses for the bad behavior. So it starts from the little things, and that is how abusive relationships start. It starts from the little things. Okay, maybe he's just having a bad day, maybe she's just having a bad day. This person is a person who is good to you, pleasant with you, but consistently down the line you keep seeing these red flags and you keep making excuses for it. Over time, what happens is your threshold reduces and you keep letting in more things that you normally would not have approved of initially, because you keep making excuses for bad behavior. Perhaps I would advocate a guilty until proven innocent policy where in a relationship or in your interactions with people, when somebody does something like that, the person is guilty until proven innocent. The person is just guilty. Okay, it's an idea worth sharing or trying. Okay, the person is proven guilty until proven innocent. On the rather than say maybe he's just having a bad day. You know, we may withhold judgment about the person, but in that moment, we're not going to make excuses for you, okay? Until you come back and apologize for such bad behavior. Say that other day I was in a bad mood, rather than me making the excuse for you that you were in a bad mood. You're gonna come to explain yourself. That's how it's supposed to be. Unless if you keep making excuses, what happens is you keep becoming less and less tolerant for bad behavior. So these are my 4 tips on how to prevent or avoid, um, you know, you as an individual or as a person, how to avoid being taken for granted. It's 12:05 a.m. on a Monday morning. Not a very good time to be awake on a Monday morning, but this is my life right now, okay? So these are my 4 tips, okay? I hope you learned a thing or two. We still have to go for the tip of the day. That is the tip of the day segment. We still have to go for that. So quickly, let us go for this one, and when we come back, we'll wrap up for this episode of Blend. Okay, so I hope you learned a thing or two for what we've talked about And based on the topic, if you have anything to add or to share, you know how you can do this. And all of your thoughts, opinions, comments are very well appreciated. And once again, I would like to say thank you for tuning in and listening to Blend here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. Right now, we're gonna go for the tip of the day segment. So let's quickly do that. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, welcome to the tip of the day segment here on Blend, here on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. Okay, my name is Lázougi, and I've been your host on this episode of Blend. This is Blend episode 13. So far, I've been having a wonderful time. I hope you've been enjoying yourself as well. You've been learning and taking home with you a lot of information, as well as enjoying the music that we have on our playlist for today. So let's talk about the tip of the day. And we are going to be talking about the law of forgetfulness. And it basically goes like this. Sometimes when I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes you plan something and you forget to do that thing that you planned to do. And way later you remember, and your brain reminds you that, oh, you needed to do something earlier. Okay, so you needed to do something earlier. What happens sometimes is we tell ourselves that, okay, we'll do it later, okay, or remind me later. And what happens is we remember again. At that second point that we remember, whatever we do or whatever it is we're doing at that point, it's important to drop it and attend to that and attend to that thing that we needed to do. Okay, so unless if we keep telling ourselves that I'll do it later, if we keep ignoring that voice that reminds us, what will happen is we'll keep forgetting. Okay, so we'll keep forgetting and we end up procrastinating. So you might remember to do something that you should have done earlier, and you think you remember later, but you'll be like, okay, maybe I'll do it 30 minutes time. But what happens is, more often than not, we just forget. Okay, so it's very, very important to do that thing that we're supposed to do when we're reminded to do it. So that is our tip of the day for this episode of Blend. Okay, so that is also all we have time for, and what we're going to do is go for this quick break. When we come back from it, we'll wrap up for this episode of Blend, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so let's go for this quick break. We'll be back after this one.
Spiritually fit so that you can always find it in yourself to go deep. Mentally fit so that you're listening to blend.
Okay, welcome, welcome back. So, like I said, doing the brief, the brief segment. Well, thanks for stating the obvious. Okay, thanks, thanks for for stating the obvious. Uh, right. Okay. So, um, that's all we have time for. Okay, I really, really do appreciate your tuning in and listening to Blend. Yeah, on your number one electronic music station in God knows where. Okay, I'm just uh, really, really thankful. Okay, that you are here with us and that you tune in on a regular basis to Blend. Okay, I also want to thank you for being part of the family here on your number one electronic music station. And in case you're wondering how you can do that, is simply by hitting that subscribe button and also turning on the live notification bell when you do get our live. Okay, turning on the live notification bell so that you get our live notifications when we do go live for our broadcast. So that is how you can become part of our family. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it. I really, really appreciate that. And I say thank you very, very much for doing that. This has been Blend episode 13. Next week we'll be having Blend episode 14. Okay, next week, or actually this week. Yeah. So it's a Monday morning. It's the dreaded Monday. The dreaded Monday. So I'll have to get back to work and see what I can cook up for Blend episode 14. So take care of yourself. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy yourself and do all the things that you love to do all the things that you love to do. And I'll see you for Blend episode 14. Okay. Before I go, I'll leave you with this song. Song is titled Mr. Technician. Take care of yourself. Once again, my name is Lázougi. God bless you. Bye bye.